What's up, YouTube? Tim is here. Now, since we are in the summer movie season, lots of interesting movies to look forward to during the summertime. So, here is my official top 20, yes, 20, and because there's way too many to look forward to than just doing one top 10, you know? So, here are my official top 20 anticipated movies set for release in the summertime. Alright, number 20 is the movie Edington. Now, yes, this is directed by Ari Aster, whose last movie I was not a fan of, which was Beau's Afraid. His producing films, like some of the films that he did produce, like the Sasquatch one, Sasquatch Sunset, whatever that was called, and that Nick Cage one, Dream Scenario, didn't do anything for me. But this actually does look interesting. You know, he is a director who gave us stuff like Hereditary, Midsommar. And this is actually pretty much like his first non-straight-up horror. You know, it's more like a Western scenario with Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, Austin Butler. And it, of course, takes place during the 2020, during the pandemic and all. And a standoff between a small-town sheriff and a mayor sparks the powder keg as neighbor is pitted against neighbor in Edington, New Mexico. And the trailer does look interesting. This is obviously going to be a summer, like a year for Pedro Pascal. So I'm intrigued to see this. Hopefully it's a good one, but hopefully it's better than Beau's Afraid, but we'll see. Alright, number 19 is 28 Years Later. You know, of course, this is the long-awaited follow-up to 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. I was actually big with the sequel, but you do got Danny Boyle coming back. You know, the trailers does look interesting. You got like Ray Fiennes. You got who else you got in this? Oh yeah, Jodie Comer. Aaron Taylor Johnson. You got some great cast members in this. So I'm intrigued to see this. Hopefully, it's better than 28 Weeks Later. But granted, Gilmore. Oh, not Gilmore Murphy. Danny Boyle did not return for that. So with Danny Boyle coming back to direct this, maybe it'll be better. But who knows? All right, number 18, I'm going with Nobody 2. Now, I'm definitely excited for this thing. I really quite like the first Nobody. You got Bob Odenkirk coming back. The director of The Shadow Strays is the director behind this. So, I have some high hopes for this one. Can't wait to see when a trailer drops for this thing. So, I'm all for it. You got, like, Christopher Lloyd coming back. Almost said Connie Britton. Connie Nielsen. You got who else? Colin Hanks. Got some great cast members in this, so hopefully it's a good one. Alright, number 17 is From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. I'm probably just gonna call this thing Ballerina. I know it's supposed like they put the name John Wick in the title, so people most likely know that this is set in the world. But I'm just gonna probably call this thing Ballerina. But of course, this does have Ana de Armas, Keanu Reeves. It takes place during the events of the John Wick Chapter 3, where Eva begins her training in the assassin tradition of the Ruska Roma. And the trailers for this thing has looked really decent. Although I heard there was some test screenings around this that did not do so well, so that there piques my interest just a little bit. But hey, I'm sure it's going to be great. Of course, you got Keanu Reeves in this. You got Ana de Armas, the late Lance Reddick. I'm intrigued to see this. Hopefully, it's a good one, but we'll see. Alright, number 16, I'm going with Karate Kid Legends. Now, of course, I love Cobra Kai. The previews for this has looked really decent. You got Jackie Chan, Ralph Macchio. I'm definitely excited for this one. I think the kid in this, Ben Wang's going to do great. I'm definitely looking forward to this. Hopefully, it's a good Karate Kid film. Alright, number 15 is How to Train Your Dragon. Now, of course, How to Train Your Dragon is a live-action remake of the, DreamWorks animation classic. I think the trailers for this thing has looked terrific. Looks beautiful to watch. I like the visual effects here. I think this looks like... And, there was some reactions that came out from CinemaCon because people were able to see this early. And everyone was saying that they loved it. So, I'm hoping I will too. It does, look like it's going to be beautiful to watch. Gerard Butler looks great in this. I'm definitely looking forward to see this when it comes out. Alright, number 14 is Freakier Friday. This follow up to 2000 to obviously the 2003 film. Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis. This time they're switching bodies with Lindsay Lohan's daughter, and I think that's her stepdaughter, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm definitely excited for this thing. I love the original Freaky Friday. Seeing Lindsay Lohan back on the big screen is something that's not Netflix original. Awesome there. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like those Christmas movies she did was okay, but I really can't wait to see Lindsay Lohan back on the big screen. Of course, Jamie Lee Curtis I adore, so I'm definitely excited for this thing. You got Chad Michael Murray returning. Davey from Never Have I Ever is in this. Hopefully it's a good one. All right, number 13, probably the only streaming film on this list because it's usually always hard to because they don't with streaming is like Netflix and stuff. They don't really it's not like the act release where they give a release date far out in advance and stuff. So I don't really know what other streaming films other than the Fear Street movie. There are a couple of that Predator one coming to Hulu. There are some that I'm interested in, but maybe I'll probably do a list of my top anticipated streaming films of the summer. But this is the only streaming film that's on my list though. And that is at number 13 is Happy Gilmore 2. I am so pumped for this one. You got Adam Sandler coming back. Chris McDonald's returning. You got Bad Bunny, Travis Kelce. You also got Carl Gallagher actor, Ethan, Kavoski, from Shameless fame. He's also in this. I'm definitely looking forward to see this one. I really quite enjoyed the trailers that was released. I'm a big Adam Sandler fan. Even his unpopular films, I've always enjoyed. So I'm definitely excited for this one. It's still a shame that it's going straight to Netflix. It's a shame that Universal didn't want to pick this one up, but okay. Because if I recall, I think Universal was the distributor of the original, but at least Peacock. A little surprised it wasn't really. But obviously, Adam Sandler has more of a has more to deal with Netflix, not Peacock, so makes sense there. All right. Number 12 is Elio. The trailers for this thing, has looked terrific. I'm hoping it does well, because if this and that Hoppers movie does not do well, be prepared for more sequels to Pixar movies. I'll tell you that right now. If you guys, want see Pixar doing some original content, I recommend, checking out Elio or even that upcoming Hoppers movie coming out. Because again, if they don't do well, be prepared for Toy Story 10 in the future or Incredibles 5 or whatever. But the trailers for this thing has looked really decent. Looks adorable. I love the visuals. I'm excited for this thing. Hopefully it's a good one and doesn't disappoint. Pixar really disappoints. So what am I saying? All right, number 11 is Leo and Stitch. The trailers for this has looked terrific. Looks entertaining. I love the Stitch design. I'm definitely excited for this one. It's also directed by Marcel the Shell with Shoes on director Dean Fleischer Camp. That there piqued my interest when that was first announced. If you guys have not seen Marcel the Shell with Shoes on, not sure what you can find nowadays. But if you guys ever find that movie, do yourself a favor, give it a go. Especially if you're worried about how this Leo and Stitch movie is going to turn out. He knows how to make these type of stuff work. And I think this does look interesting. So hopefully, it does disappoint. Alright. Now here is my official top 10. Number 10 is F1. Now the trailers for this has looked really decent. You got Joseph Kosinski, the director behind Top Gun Maverick. You got Brad Pitt. You got, Carrie Condon, Javier Bardem. It looks realistic. I'm not really much of a sports guy, let's be for real. But I do love a good sports film, and I think this looks like it'd be interesting to check out. So hopefully it's a good one. All right, number 9 is Weapons. Now, it's such a revolves around high school, revolves around the disappearance of high schoolers in a small town. The teaser that got released for this thing, I don't know what the heck's going on here, but I'm all for it. You also got Josh Brolin, Julia Garner. Pretty much you got Thanos and the new Silver Surfer in there, so that's interesting. Um, Also, we got Wong himself, Benedict Wong. I think this looks like be interesting to check out from the director Barbarian. Even though he didn't direct it, his recent movie, Companion, which I think he was like a producer of it, that's still my favorite film of the year. If you guys haven't seen it, you're missing out. So I'm definitely excited for this one. Hopefully, Weapons is as good as Barbarian, but we'll see. I mean, it should be, especially since if you guys recall, they moved this thing up from January all the way to August. So that should say something. All right, number 8 is The Naked Gun. I was excited for this one beforehand. Because it's from the directors of the Chippendale movie, Pop Star. Produced by Seth MacFarlane and all. But after that trailer that got released recent, I'm more pumped for this one. It looks really fun. You got Liam Neeson at Frank Drebin, Pamela Anderson, Paul Walter Hauser, Danny Houston, Liza Koshy is also in this. I really quite like the OJ Simpson little OJ Simpson cameo we just saw in the trailer. That was pretty fun. I'm definitely looking forward to see this. Liam Neeson I've always loved, so hopefully this is a good one. All right. Number 7 is Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning Part. Just Final Reckoning. My bad. I mean, the trailers for this has looked great. You got Tom Cruise doing his thing. It does look intriguing, so looks fun. I'm definitely excited for this one. Hopefully it does better than than Death Reckoning. But hey, it's not opening up against, let's say, it's not opening up near a Barbenheimer, so I'm sure it'll do a little better. All right, number 6 is Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, the last one, I admit, I was not a fan of, and Fallen Kingdom had its moments, but wasn't all that great. Frankly, the last Jurassic World movie I really quite enjoyed was the 2015 one. Like the last two ones, I admit, was a step down from the 2015 one. But the trailer for this does look intriguing. You got Gareth Edwards directing. You got, of course, Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, Mahershala Ali. I mean, you got some great cast members in this. It does look a lot of fun. I mean, what you gotta love? It's just dinosaurs eating people. That's what I want to see, and that's what I'm pretty much gonna be getting with this. So, who doesn't love seeing dinosaurs, eating people, right? All right. Number 5 is, of course, Thunderbolts. The trailer for Thunderbolts has looked a lot of fun. Looks entertaining. The Some of the reactions has been outstanding. So I'm definitely excited for this one. Hopefully it doesn't disappoint, but we'll see. All right, number 4 is Megan 2.0. Now, I was interested in this at first because I enjoyed the first Megan, but after that trailer that got released, featuring the Britney Spears "Oops, I Did It Again" song, I'm actually more excited for this thing. I'm gonna call this now. This is gonna be the T2 of the Megan films. Like, how a lot of people will say that T2 is better than the first Terminator. I have a feeling that this is going to be better than the first Megan. Yeah, and definitely looks like it's going to be more relevant to the sci-fi action roots more than straight up horror. But it does look really fun. I'm hoping this is as good, but we'll see. All right, number 3 is Final Destination: Bloodlines. Of course, I love the Final Destination movies. You got Tony Todd coming in. I'm excited for this thing. Looks a lot of fun. Some of the kills look great in this. I'm definitely pumped to see this one. Really love the story elements. Of like the death. Getting after the family bloodlines. It's pretty. It's also, I guess, to say, let's say, the Godfather 2 of the Final Destination films, if you think of it, because it's technically also a prequel of how everything came to be. So yeah, but I'm intrigued to see this. Hopefully it's a good one. All right, number 2 is Fantastic Four: First Steps. I'm definitely pumped for this one. I Now, I know the last Fantastic Four movie wasn't so good. I was actually excited for that one. And that, one. But this one does look great. It's the first Fantastic Four movie. It should be set in the MCU. You got, the aforementioned Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby. This is also Vanessa Kirby's summer, too, by the way. Because she's also in Fine Reckoning. So, cool year for Vanessa Kirby. And she's also in some for Netflix, too. But there's that. But, I think this looks like be interesting to check out. I think Julie Garner as Silver Surfer looks great. I'm excited for this. Hopefully, it doesn't disappoint. And let's be for real, my number one anticipated movie of the summer is still my number one anticipated film of the rest of the year. That is Superman. I am so pumped for this. The previews that's been shown for this thing has looked terrific. David Cornsworth, I think, looks great here. Of course, you got Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult. I cannot wait for this one. It's the start of a new cinematic universe. That there piques my interest. I mean, could you imagine if, let's say, the first Iron Man didn't do so well? We wouldn't be talking about the MCU anymore, So I'm hoping this becomes like the Iron Man of, let's say, the James Gunn's DCU, But we'll see. Hopefully it's a good one. Anyway, that's pretty much it there. Here is my quick rundown. Number 20, Edington. 19, 28 years later. 18, Nobody 2. 17, Ballerina. 16, Karate Kid Legends. 15, How to Train Your Dragon. 14, Freakier Friday. 13, Happy Gilmore 2. 12, Elio. 11, Leo and Stitch. 10, F1. 9, Weapons. 8, The Naked Gun. 7, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. 6, Jurassic World Rebirth. 5, Thunderbolts. 4, Megan 2.0. 3, Final Destination Bloodlines. 2, Fantastic Four First Steps. And number 1 is Superman. Now there's some other ones like Clowns in the Cornfield looks pretty decent. Let's see what else we have out there. There's the Life of Chuck, the Mike Flanagan one. There's also another Pedro Pascal movie, The Materialist. So it's pretty much a Pascal summer. We got some, The Toxic Avenger, The Roses, Together, the one with Dave Franco, Dangerous Animals, which is a shark movie. That looks pretty fun. I mean, you got some great stuff to look forward to. I mean, I don't know. This could easily be one of the best summer movie season since maybe for a while. I think maybe 2026 could be that, but who knows? Anyway, let me let you guys. What are some of your anticipated films coming out in the summertime? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Who's Signing.